This is mainly for my enjoyment.
Yeah.
As a cosplayer, I have to ask. You can say no comment. Are the ghost traps? Hi, Jason. My name is Chris. I'm a
Hey,
YouTuber from
Chris.
the Philippines. First of all, thank you for your time. And thank you for writing such a beautiful story with Ghostbusters
Oh, thank you.
Afterlife. I think you've managed to make the majority of grown men cry after watching this movie and in the best way possible. So thank you so much again.
You're really kind. Thank you very much.
Seeing all the great feedback and love that the Ghostbusters community has given the film, was it everything you thought the outcome would be? Did you imagine this feeling when you finally pitched your Ghostbusters story to your father all those years ago?
This is the response has been overwhelming and nothing I could have ever anticipated. I went in trepidatiously and just hoping not to screw it up. I wanted to make a movie that would make my father proud and, give Ghostbusters fans one more ride in Ecto 1. So to have this response, for people to embrace the movie, it fills my heart in a way I can't explain.
You've created a lot of original stories that blossom into successful films throughout your career, but Ghostbusters was the one that already had an original vision and story that millions of people grew up loving. Going into it, how was your mental process in continuing the story, especially a story that your dad had a big part of creating? Did you ever think, what would my dad do in this situation? Or did you go with your gut and make decisions the way you would have done during your other movies?
Well, I wanted to tell a personal story that was the story of the grandchildren of a Ghostbuster, which kind of felt fitting because of course, I'm the son of a Ghostbuster, so it made sense. But I always think about what my dad would do. I mean, in life and in movies. And unfortunately on this one, I had him right by my side, so I could actually just turn to my right and ask him.
You gave the fans what they wanted by reuniting the main cast in this movie. So again, thank you so much for that. But if it didn't play out and none of the OG Ghostbusters decided to come back, would that have changed the movie and story?
I don't think I could have made this movie with the original Ghostbusters. I think that this story fell so squarely coming off of the first two Ghostbusters films that I think it needed to have them. I wanted to make a movie that handed the movie to the audience with Ecto 1 and the proton packs and the music and the sound effects and the ghosts and everything they love about Ghostbusters. And that list was never going to be a complete list without Winston Zeddemore, Ray Stantz, and Peter Venkman.
As a director, I'm sure there are specific scenes in the movie that you're excited for fans to see. But was there a scene that surprised you with regards to the reaction of the audience? Like a scene you didn't think would be as impactful as it turned out to be for the moviegoers?
You know what? Look, there's a scene that I was excited about, which was Phoebe and Podcast turning on the proton pack for the first time and firing it. But I still wasn't prepared for how exciting it would be. To be sitting in a movie theater, particularly one with Atmos, and to hear that proton pack fire up, I mean, there's nothing like it. That was really thrilling. Even as the person who directed it, to watch that scene, it makes me feel like I'm an audience member.
Literally, I just finished my proton pack yesterday.
No way!
Yes, and the amount of close-up shots of the pack during this movie was so geek-gasmic. Who decides on what modifications the Spengler pack will eventually have in this film? Were you deep in that conversation, or is it a matter of the prop department showing you what it will look like and you giving the go or no go?
I know, I was 1,000% deep in that conversation, and obviously the biggest change that we did is we added the switch, the actual power switch, and I labeled that in the script, and we talked about exactly where it was going to go, and we studied the original scene in the elevator to figure out exactly where it would go, and we got into kind of deep conversations about what the ribbon cable would look like and where we could put nicks and scratches on it, and putting on the wood handle onto the actual wand. Thought about like little places where the proton pack would have suffered damage over the years.
I even placed the switch at the correct placement, so I'm so happy I saw that.
That's great. Amazing.
Ghostbusters always had that idea of camaraderie and teamwork. We had a lot of that for sure in Afterlife, but we're also introduced to new themes like coming of age and the unusual family dynamic. How important was that to you to write a Ghostbuster story with those new ideas?
I mean, really important. The original 3 films were about 4 people opening up ghostbusting businesses, and I wanted to make a film about a family, about 3 generations of ghostbusting, and particularly this kind of concept of intergenerational forgiveness. I wanted to go in a new direction, and I wanted to show that we can have all kinds of stories in the Ghostbusters universe.
This is mainly for my enjoyment. As a cosplayer, I have to ask, you can say no comment. Are the ghost traps underneath the farm spirit Halloween traps? Was it actual in-store?
Oh, they were in-store traps. I'm not sure if they were spirit Halloween traps because I'm not familiar with that name, but they were toys.
A lot of people were checking like the inside of the trap, and it was very specific to that particular toy. So everyone was
That's amazing.
All the cosplayers was like, oh my God, the trap I have now is canon. I'm a content creator who makes skits in fan films. I actually made a fan film of Ghostbusters a few weeks back. You have written and created a lot of great projects, and I wanted to ask you how you get in that zone to find the inspiration to put out projects you're proud of.
I mean, it's funny that you say that because I feel like I made a film too. I mean, that's what Ghostbusters Afterlife is. It's a movie made by someone who grew up with the toys, who grew up reading the comics and watching the cartoons and wanted to make a movie about these characters. And Gil Kennan and I, when we were writing this movie in this office, that's what we were thinking of it. It's like, oh my God, like I can't believe we get to write down words like Ecto-1 and Peter Venkman and write him dialogue. I mean, it just was insane. So it felt like fan fiction. The inspiration comes from the same place that all, I think, storytelling inspiration comes from. It's like you're trying to kind of figure out something in your own life and you find other characters to tell the story through.
Who gets to take home these lovely props? Is it under lock and key at Sony, or do you have the Spengler prop?
Sony keeps a vault where they keep everything, and it's cool because they got everything. They got everything going back to 1984. They got the original car. They got the original packs. So some stuff has made it into private collections, but Sony has done an incredible job of keeping track of everything.
Again, Jason, this is an honor. I loved the movies, the original 2 movies. I don't know, I kind of loved Afterlife even more because of all that emotion it brought me as a 36-year-old man who went into the theater and cried his eyes out. So thank you.
I love that.
Thank you so much, Jason. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris. Nice meeting you. Congratulations on the pack. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, see you. Bye.